YUGI-Tips. How to use artifacts. See, the thing is, most people, when they're playtesting the artifacts, they treat them more like monsters than traps. When the idea is you're supposed to treat them like traps. You're supposed to put them in your spell and trap zone. You know what I mean? So when you build a deck, you're supposed to put them in your spell and traps, section of your deck. You're not supposed to put them in your monster selection. You know what I mean? You're supposed to put other monsters and use these monsters as support. Because they work better as support for a deck as opposed to being the deck itself. Like Silver Sentinel. You know what I mean? Silver Sentinel is not going to be, your ace monster in your deck. Obviously, he's just going to be, he's going to be treated like a trap or a spell. And you're going to put other monsters like, Tour Guide, BLS, Vela, whatever you want, right? So, in my artifact build, I have tuners, I synchro. Those are my ace monsters, while my artifact monsters are my support monsters for the artifact deck. Obviously, people who know about artifact decks, one major card that gets used in pretty much every build is Malevolent Catastrophes, just because it's a massive way to activate all their effects, but it's not the only way. And of course, it's not the best way. One, it's not chainable. Two, your opponent has to attack. So your opponent could just not attack. They could just stall and burn you, and then you just be wasting a lot of time. It's not like you could just be like, alright, well, since you ain't going to attack, on my turn, I'm going to play MST and stuff like that and destroy my cards and summon a whole bunch of monsters and OTK, because you can't. Their effects only apply when they're destroyed during their opponent's turn, which is, part of their weakness, but also their strength. That's why you're supposed to treat them as traps, not as monsters, because they only really work on your opponent's turn. So a weakness, obviously, is your opponent can set their MST, wait until it's your turn, and then MST in your back row, hitting your artifacts and sending them to the grave. Which is also why you should treat them as traps, not as the main monsters of your deck. So you could play Light Rays, for example. So when you have enough light monsters in your graveyard, you could summon one of them. Obviously, playing stuff like Double Cyclone, which is a quick play. Stardust. They can summon Stardust, and boom, Malevolent Catastrophe, MST, all those cards that you use to activate monsters' effects won't apply, because you could just always negate it with Stardust. You know what I mean? So that's a weakness of the deck, which is why it's good to be able to do stuff like Synchro Summon. People can play Starlight Road against it. There's a card that now has use. It's do I have it here? No, I don't have it here to look at. What was it? Timid? Damn, I really should have looked it up. Timid. Timidity, I think it is Timid. Timid something. It's a spell card. It has check the yellow on it. He's crawling through a cemetery or something, or through a tomb. And it's Timid, I think, or Timidity, or something like that. And it basically states until your next end phase or something, no set cards can't be destroyed. Like set spells and traps can't be destroyed. So basically this could be like your Code Wave. You know what I mean? You play it, then you can summon a whole bunch of monsters and attack, and don't worry about Malevolent Catastrophes, MSTs. It's a good card to play. Set your background and don't have to worry about end phase MST, because your cards can't be destroyed until it's your turn again, until the end of your next turn, something like that. It's a really good card. It's just like it's a rarity. You're not gonna always play it, but for those who like to side deck against certain decks, if you go up against an artifact deck, and you're not playing Stardust or Starlight Road or anything like that, you might want to side this in. Because it'll just be like a Cold Wave. You'll play it, bang. Now they can't do none of their tricks. Like I said, Malevolent Catastrophe is not chainable, which is like the main trap everybody tries to use in the deck. It's not chainable, so you could just play Timid, and not going to be able to play anything. Of course, they could chain MST, Double Cyclone, but that's about it. They won't be able to Malevolent Catastrophe. let's see. That's about it. Just use them as traps. Treat them as traps. You know, there's even one that's a hand trap. It's a 2300. It acts like Purple Thorny. When your artifact monsters get destroyed, you know, you drop him. So, you know, treat them as traps.